Right, hello everyone. Just going to give you a quick overview and a quick whistle-stop tour of mole ploughing. Bit of a mole ploughing masterclass I've been asked to do. This is our mole plough. Really important for heavy land drainage if you've got the right drainage systems. First port of call is always to have a look at your drainage maps, work out where your drains are in the field and whether they've got stone on top, because mole ploughing will only work if you've got stone on top of the drains. So I've had a look at this field, and this field is drained this way. So we're moling at 90 degrees to those drains. I know what depth they are, so I know what depth I need to pull my mole through that stone. On this particular field it's 24 inches, so I know how to set my mole plough up. Now this particular mole is attached to the tractor via the hitch. Many mole ploughs you can get are attached via the 3-point linkage. Whichever you use, it's really important that you're pulling a dead weight, so you mustn't take any weight of the mole on the arms of your tractor. You need to keep the body of the mole needs to be following the ground the whole time. You don't want to be lifting it, because you want that mole to be in at the same depth, nice consistent depth the whole time. With that in mind, you need a reasonable sized tractor. Needs to be weighted appropriately. Tyre pressures, etc., need to be set right, because although it doesn't take a lot of power to pull a mole plough, it does take a lot of grip at times. So this particular mole plough, as I say, you've got a nice long beam there for it to follow the ground. This is the leg, which we've got set to 24 inches deep. That's the bullet there, and then on the back you've got this thing, which is the expander. So as this is pulling through the soil, it's making a small hole, and then this is expanding it out, the clay out, to make a channel, about 2 or 3 inch, 4 inch channel, which the water then flows down till it gets to the stone on the drain and drops through the stone into the drain, and away it goes. One good way of checking that conditions are really good is to just have a little look at the expander here, and you can see I've got some clay on here, and it's springtime, we've had a really wet winter and this land hasn't been cropped, but you can see this is going to mould really well. It's not too wet. In the summertime it can get very dry, so it's really important just to keep an eye on the conditions underneath, just to make sure that that conditions are right for forming that mole. But as I say, first port of call is always to check your drain maps. Very easy to pull a mole too deep and wreck your drainage, which would be a very expensive mistake, but when done correctly, a very efficient way of draining heavy land. And so here we have the mole plough in action. As you can see, it's a very steady job, but the beam there, it's running flat on the ground, so I know I've got the mole set to the right height. The tractor's not taking any weight. The moles are they're about 8 foot apart, yeah, it's quite important to keep that distance right. I'm doing about 4.5k, which is about right. And the other thing, when you are moling along like this, if you have the window open occasionally, when you go through some stone, you can actually hear it. You can hear the expander and the bullet going through the stone, and you know it's quite a good way of finding the drains and perhaps having a dig down, seeing what condition they're in. As I say, it is a very steady job.